I am Lars, 35 years old, working for an import-export company in the Netherlands. My job requires frequent communication with international clients, but there's one thing that has always made me feel insecure. I'm not good at English. Every time there's a meeting with foreign partners, I get anxious. I understand what they're saying, but when it's my turn to respond, I freeze, searching for words in my head but failing to fully express my thoughts. I fear making mistakes, afraid of being judged, so I gradually avoid situations where I have to speak English. Instead of actively participating in discussions, I let my colleagues take the lead while I remain silent, observing from the sidelines. But deep down, I know that if I keep doing this, I'll never move forward in my career. I can't let this fear hold me back any longer. That's when I decided to change. One day, my boss called me into the meeting room and announced that our company had landed an important project. I was assigned to work directly with our international partners. Communicating in English was a must. As soon as I heard that, my heart started pounding and my palms got sweaty. I wanted to refuse, to find an excuse to escape the situation. But at the same time, I realized something. This wasn't just pressure, it was an opportunity. I had been avoiding English for too long. If I kept letting fear take over, I would always be standing behind my colleagues, watching them seize opportunities that could have been mine. I didn't want my entire career to be limited just because of a language barrier. So instead of saying no, I took a deep breath and accepted. At that moment, I knew I had to change. No more procrastination. It was time for me to truly learn English. I embarked on my English learning journey with determination, but it wasn't as easy as I had imagined. Pronunciation was my first major challenge. Even though I knew the vocabulary, the words didn't sound right when I spoke them. It felt like my tongue couldn't shape the sounds properly. Vocabulary was another struggle. I learned many new words, but when I needed them, they would just disappear from my memory. And the worst part was listening comprehension. When watching videos or listening to native speakers, I could only pick up a few scattered words, while the rest remained a blur. I tried everything. I bought English textbooks, downloaded vocabulary apps, and even stuck new words all over my house. But no matter how hard I studied, my progress felt painfully slow. Sometimes I wondered if I was just wasting my time. Not wanting to give up, I searched for different learning methods. I started watching YouTube videos on pronunciation, listening practice, and speech techniques. I watched interviews, listened to native speakers, and repeated their sentences word for word. At first, I barely understood anything, but I kept going, day by day. I noticed small improvements. I could hear words more clearly, understand more, and even repeat some phrases without subtitles. It was the first real sign that I was making progress. Despite my efforts, I still felt that my progress was too slow. I realized that self-studying alone wasn't enough to improve my speaking skills. So, I decided to step out of my comfort zone and join an English-speaking club near where I lived. That decision changed everything. At my first meeting, I felt intimidated watching everyone speak English so naturally. Initially, I just listened, trying to understand what they were saying, but then I realized something: no one was judging me. No one laughed at my mistakes. Everyone was there for the same reason: to improve their English. A friend from the club, Jack, shared an interesting method with me: learning through real-life experiences. He advised me not to rely solely on textbooks, but to immerse myself in English as naturally as possible, watching movies, listening to music, reading news articles, and, most importantly, engaging in real conversations. I decided to follow his advice. Instead of memorizing individual words, I listened to English songs and tried to understand their meaning. I watched movies without subtitles, training myself to listen actively. And at each club meeting, I set a personal goal to speak a little more than I did last time. Over time, I came to an important realization: English isn't just a subject to study, it's a life skill, a tool that connects us to the world, and I was slowly mastering it. After months of persistence, I began to feel a real transformation. The English words that once made me stumble now flowed more naturally. I no longer had to pause and think before speaking. When listening to native speakers, I could understand full sentences and grasp their ideas, rather than just catching random words. For the first time in my life, I felt confident speaking English. Then came the big day, the meeting with our foreign partners for the project. Know that I was responsible for. In the past, I would have been so nervous that I couldn't even form a proper sentence. But this time, I walked into the room with a completely different mindset. I presented my ideas clearly, answered questions calmly, and even engaged in discussions comfortably. After the meeting, my boss came over and patted me on the shoulder. "Lars, you did great." I couldn't believe what I had just heard. I had done it. This success didn't just help me complete the project, it opened up new doors for me. My boss started trusting me with more important tasks and bigger international clients. And not long after, I received a promotion, something I had never thought possible, just because of my language barrier. Looking back, I realized that learning English didn't just advance my career, it made me more confident and proactive in life. I no longer shy away from challenges because I've proven to myself that with persistence, anything is possible. Reflecting on this journey, I see that learning English has not only propelled my career forward, but also unlocked countless new opportunities. I no longer feel lost in conversations with foreigners or hesitant in international meetings. Instead, I engage confidently, build meaningful connections, and explore opportunities I never imagined before. But more importantly, I've come to understand that learning a language is not a destination, it's an ongoing journey. I continue to practice every day, listening to podcasts, reading books in English, and speaking whenever I get the chance. I know that if I stop, I'll lose everything I've worked so hard to achieve. Beyond my own growth, I also want to help others who are struggling, just like I once did. I've joined English learning communities, sharing my experiences and encouraging those who are still battling their fears. I want them to see that learning English isn't something to be afraid of. It's an opportunity for growth and transformation. If there's one lesson I've learned from this journey, it's this: never let fear hold you back. Just start, make mistakes, learn from them, and one day you'll realize you've come further than you ever imagined.